Do you think you know what your ascension is all about? There's an undiscovered truth behind your ascension that most of us don't know. We feel that we're moving in a certain direction, yet the idea and the understanding of what the ascension is lost on us. And today they want us to talk about the undiscovered truth of our ascension, how to get past it, and how to truly ascend and not just be part of the shift or a reset, because the definitions are getting skewed. They want to really bring that information up today. My name's Con Knight, also a spiritual and emotional guide. I help people awaken to your ascension and understand who you are, to connect to your higher self, and to look at the emotions that are in your body so you can begin to heal your life, heal your body, and make a big, significant change in your life. So again, they're talking about the shift for today, about the undiscovered truth of our ascension. So we think in our ascension that the world is moving into a 5D. We are moving into this whole other shift of a planet. Those that will ascend will go into a new planet. Those that won't will stay in another planet. They're also saying that what this really is, it's a shift in consciousness. And just moving into your heart and sitting into your heart is the minimum that you can do. The need for us to connect in a very different way. But it's not just to connect with each other. It's not just to forgive. It's connect with yourself. And they're talking about community. They're talking about community of yourself in a true understanding. They're talking to me about a process on how to move into this stage of ascension. So what happens if we go through all this work of ascension and we don't actually go anywhere? You end up staying in the exact same place because you never really evolve. You never really learn the lessons that you need to. So they're saying in order to actually have that ascension, we need to have a fundamental understanding of what the ascension is. So the ascension is not just a shift in consciousness. Yes, it is, but it's also not. It's not just connecting with everyone around us and being unified and whole as one. And it is, yet it's not. It's also unifying, connecting with your body, your soul, your mind, and bringing the Trinity together, bringing the three. So it is above, it is below. They really want us to connect on all avenues. This means our body, our mind, our soul, the body, mind, and soul of our essential beings, the body, mind, and soul of our cellular body, the body, mind, and soul of our community body, and the overall etheric body. So when they talk about each level, they say there's 3 levels to this. We often spend time in 1 or 2, but we don't actually spend time in all of them. So we never really truly ascend. The result of that is, well, it's not as pretty as you think, and maybe we're going to save that to the end. But as we go through this ascension, so that body, mind, and soul connection is understanding what your body is and knowing that your body is an animal. Your body is an animal. It needs to be taken care of in such a way. But like any animal or a child, it needs basic needs. It needs to be fed. It needs water. It needs the basic nutrition. It needs to sleep. When it gets old enough, it needs procreation. This is the animal body. It also needs relationships and emotions. It needs to be taken care of. Now, we've been taught to go get married and have babies and get connected with other people to find that love. The true love that they want us to connect into is within our hearts, to know who we are as an eternal being. So when we start connecting with ourselves, a lot of us have been done to do that, but we haven't done the hard work. And the hard work is connecting into your emotional body. So we can feed the body and take care of it and give it love, but we don't necessarily make an emotional connection with it. And that part is probably the most difficult. He then goes to say the next part of connecting into that emotional body is, in order to do that, you need a community. But there becomes a process here. Before you can actually connect with the community, you have to maybe understand yourself a little bit, connect yourself with the community, As you share in your community, you get to expose yourself and be truthful and honest. Now, most of the communities out there are very judgmental and attacking. So that community needs to be full of love and connection and understanding. So when you can share and bare your soul, that people won't judge you. They may judge you, but they might not say it out loud. But that judgment is a reflection of yourself. So taking that reflection of judgment, looking at that judgment back in yourself. So why am I being judgmental against somebody else? Why am I looking at this person on the screen and being judgmental against them? As we move into that judgment, this is where the emotional body comes into play, that we need to understand and sit with the judgment until we can explore it fully. So is the judgment me? Is the judgment something else? Is it something from a past life? Is it coming from my generational trauma? Enough to sit with your judgment that you can understand it. When you understand it, when you look at somebody else that has judgment, you no longer have judgments against them, but you have compassion towards them because you understand that judgment, because you had the judgment within yourself. But most of us don't do that. We end up just reading books and watching movies and listening to others, and we don't actually look at within ourselves. So we get this sense of community, we get this sense of understanding, but we never fully understand ourselves. So this goes back to the undiscovered truth of our ascension. The ascension isn't just an ascension of the planet and a shift of the population. Is it a shift within yourself, of understanding of yourself? The ascension is understanding yourself at a mind, body, and soul level. So this now becomes a process of understanding the body, taking care of the body, nurturing it and loving it, understanding the emotions that are within the body. As we understand the emotions that are in the body and we observe it and sit with it, we then connect that with the community. Because we've observed ourselves, we can understand the community. As you understand the community, you can understand yourself better. As you develop the community, you now have a safe, secure place that you can communicate, share, and be one and have a safe haven. So now you have an external body of being safe. You have an internal body being safe. And now you have a protected area of completely for the body. This then shifts out to your consciousness. Now, if you are unwilling to share what is going on with your emotional body in a safe space, you can never really get it out of your body. You're never really shifting all that information out of your body. So this becomes a really big, ugly cycle that we need to work on in discovering yourself, sitting with the emotional body, getting that out of your body, getting that over into others, creating that safe community. As you create that safe community and you start tuning into yourself, you're healing the community. The community is healing itself, it's healing you, and now it's healing the external world. So if we truly want to move into a stage of ascension, we need to get into our emotional body. And as we get into our emotional body, we need to forgive it and understand it. But it's not just a matter about forgiveness, and it's about understanding it. Now, most of us force forgiveness, say, I forgive you. I'm sorry for what you've done. I'm sorry for what I've done. It's forgive, 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 forgive. But you never take care of the emotions that are within you, because you might say that you're forgiving it, but you don't necessarily believe it. So we're saying it's imperative for us, if we really want to truly understand the truth of ascension, you need to understand the truth of your own self. And that is where the awakening process comes in. And we start moving into a whole different ways of awakening. Some it's for Kundalini, it's chakra alignment, it's Reiki, it's sound healing. All that is different ways of getting to the same thing, of tuning into our inner body, of our emotions, understanding who we are. And because we start operating on a sense of vibration and frequency, we start moving into a state of love. We start forgiving ourselves. We start opening up ourselves, that we then heal the community, we heal ourselves, and then we start moving into ascension. Now, the dark side of it that I said I was going to say at the start of this is, what if we don't do this? What if we don't start turning into our emotional body and looking at the ugliness and the harshness that's within us? If we end up doing that, this is where we start getting into the Great Reset. So the Great Reset is like, oh, I can't wait for the Great Reset. It's so happening. It's happening right now. Well, the Great Reset isn't necessarily the Great Reset. The reset is you didn't do the job well enough in your ascension that we're going to reset everything. We're going to reset humanity. So you start from ground zero again. Then you got to go through all this stuff again. until you actually learn it, until you actually can, will, and able to turn into your emotional body and understand yourself fully and completely. But are you willing to do that? Is that something that you want to do? Well, then that becomes the power of our community. To have the community and create that safe space, we need that. So now this becomes the chicken and the egg. Which came first? If you really want to start first, this is why we always go back to meditation. When you come into meditation, you quiet your mind, you quiet your body, you start releasing these endorphins, you start feeling good enough that you can start looking at yourself, and maybe you're willing to look at some of the dark truth that's within yourself. How are you judgmental against people? How are you judgmental against yourself? What are you saying to yourself? What are you saying to others? So you can understand, like, this is a really roundabout way. I keep on going in circles in here, but that's okay, because this is what the process is. It's not a direct line of starting point of low to high vibration. It's a process of ups and downs, going back to the start, repeating what we did before, relearning in a different way. We are coming back into this lifetime. Now, if I said this great reset is happening now, I could also say this great reset happened thousands and thousands of times. We can say that this reset has happened so many times to us that if you actually knew how many times it happened, you'd be really defeated and really, really disturbed with yourself, and maybe even unwilling to move forward. But then the reset just happens and happens and happens until you're willing to look at your emotions and start this crazy vicious cycle, to start looking at yourself, start looking at your emotions, start getting into some communities that actually love you and support you, so you can actually really bare your soul and be brave enough to speak your truth and share what's really happening within you. And once you do that, that's when liberation happens. You start feeling lighter and freer and better and happier, and life just starts getting a little bit better. You start letting go of everything within you, and now you can begin to ascend. So the truth behind our ascension is that we're doing it, but there also is some ugliness that we need to look at. We need to look at some of the heaviness that's within us. And if you're willing, I'd love to be your guide and coach. I'd love to have that community with you. And I thank you for being part of this community, because this is what we're doing together right now. So I thank you for those that are willing to bare your soul and be honest. And if you can join your own communities and groups, and you can create your own communities and groups, come join mine, create your own, and start sharing your truth. Now, I'm not talking about a bitch fest. I'm not talking about complaining. No, it's not about that. It's about sharing your truth and honesty and saying, this is how I feel. This is what I see within myself. When I think about this person, what they've done to me, this is how it's making me feel. And then have somebody being there for you was, well, how does that make you feel? By looking at it. Why don't you sit down and spend time with it? Let's do that together. Let's do that as a group. When you start doing this community meditations and community sitting together and community sharing, you're going to have a liberation, and it's going to happen really fast. So there is a process in place that's been given down to us. It's a matter of whether you're brave enough to do it or not. And I hope all of you are. And I thank you for all being here and being part of this journey. So with that, if any of you have any questions about the undiscovered truth of our ascension, in your own ascension, or have any questions or willing to bare your soul, please do, because this is a safe space. My mantra, as you know, I only allow love to enter this space. I only allow love to leave this space. Only those that have the highest and greatest intentions for the greatest good of all are allowed in this space. So you are free to share what you need to share. If you don't want to do it publicly, then reach out to me privately. Come into our group and join that way. There's always options for you. And just know, you're not alone. I'm here for you, just like many others are. So with that, thank you, everybody. Thank you for being here. I see lots of people are popping into the comments. I'm going to skim through on the comments on here and see. Hey, Kira. Hi, Disha. Hi, Priya. Hey, Robinette. Julie. Great to have you here. Thank you. Beautiful. Julie, I got you on here. I've marked you first about your thoracic. Beautiful. Hi, Jacqueline. Hey, Nature. Toby. Robinette, great. Thank you. Got you here. That's right. Oh, heck no. Let's do this. Yeah, we got it. Community is Community has become so strong for us in order to develop a community and to be together. That's why I've created the Ascension Mastery Group, so that we can share our truth, do the work. So doing the work is the meditation and going through the emotions and observing what you to do, and then being able to share it and communicate with yourself. And the one thing that I find a lot of people don't do is that they communicate their truth. They clam up because they're scared to. And once you do, it's a liberation. And then a little bit of guidance to get you past that little bit of block, so you can start going into the deeper growths. There's a process, and we are doing this, but you either do it or you don't. Jacqueline says, it's so important to remember that we are one. Nothing is good or bad. Looking to yourself and others around you with loving and forgiving eyes. Yeah. Now, the most important aspect of that is that you're looking at yourself. You're looking at yourself first. When you understand yourself and you understand why you were so mean, I was not a good person. I did a lot of bad things. Even though I was a really nice guy, I did really nice things. I was really sweet. I also had a lot of horrible thoughts and did a lot of horrible things. And as I look back at myself, that guilt and the shame and everything that I've done to other people, that's been done to me, as I look at that within myself, I had to forgive myself. I needed to understand what was happening within me. As I forgave myself, then I could look at others and I could see them with compassion. I couldn't just look at somebody and say, I forgive you, because I would say it through gritted teeth. I would say, I forgive you. And I didn't really mean it. I'd say it, but I'd say it by putting myself as a martyr. Oh, I'm going to forgive you. Look how great I am. I forgive you, but you're not forgiving yourself. Or I'm going to be better than you. That's not healing. I really had to look at myself and shed some serious tears before I could actually look at somebody else and truly forgive somebody. Yeah, you're right, Jacqueline. We are kids and we are innocent. So when you do look at yourself and you realize that you look at yourself and you realize this is an animal body. And as an animal, you have certain desires and needs. And when you start acting on those desires and needs outside of your control, a lot of times it's just the animal body. So you need to look at yourself and forgive yourself for the animal part of you doing those things that you didn't do out of your own thoughtfulness. You did it out of reaction, because this is the animal body. So much like when we had the shutdowns, the pandemics, people fighting for toilet paper, they were getting vicious and they were fighting people. Now, when they look at themselves in the camera afterwards to see how vicious they were to somebody else over the last pack of toilet paper, you look at yourself and say, oh, I feel horrible about myself. How could I do that to somebody? How could I be so mean? But when you look at yourself and you realize the animal body is in fear, it's in fight or flight. It's either going to act out of joy and happiness, or it's going to be in fear. And when you're cornered, when an animal is cornered, it's going to react. So now you put somebody into extreme fear, they're going to react. And it doesn't matter whether it's toilet paper, whether it's you're going to go into a corner and fight your butt off, or you're going to disconnect from your body and say, I'm out of here, and just allow whatever to happen to your body without understanding it. So this is just understanding what the mind, body, and soul truly is. It truly is. Beautiful. Thank you. I feel ascension happening. I can see things turning for the better and within me. I get a calling to do those rituals that are done by tantric, especially the first day period. But why? So that's the beginning process, is that when we first start thinking about joining these groups on YouTube, pulling cards, using pendulums, using crystals, all those things is a call from our higher self. Now, our higher self, no matter how horrible you feel, how just having the worst day possible, the worst life possible, your higher self is constantly trying to give you cues to move and do something that's going to bring you joy in your life. So when they start introducing maybe tantric meditation, tantric anything, you start playing with pendulums or angel cards, or doing anything that's kind of woo-woo, that's not considered safe by the rest of the world, this is your higher self to move into something, to look at something that is outside of you that you've been conditioned in doing. When you look at something that piques your interest and you see that, oh, that's really interesting, I'm interested in doing that, but I don't want to tell the world. So you begin secretly looking in that on the internet. You start joining groups on Facebook and you start disguising who you are. That's your higher self slowly introducing you into a world to help transition you into the next phase. So this is where we need to allow ourselves to follow our passion, no matter what it is. And no matter what somebody says or discredits you or poo-poos on you, we need to realize that this is a cue from our higher self that's leading us to where we need to go. So now we're going to start dabbling in these areas, and we're going to put our toe in, we're going to take our toe out, toe in, toe out. And eventually we start gaining a little bit of experience, a little bit of knowledge. We start learning a little bit more. So this is why we need to be kinder to ourselves, because we look at other people that are doing this ascension, they're going through their awakening, and they seem so much further than us. And it's not about that. We're just starting at different points of our lives using different tools that are available to us. But ultimately, our goal is all to get to the same place at the end. This also means that this might not be our last lifetime. We might have other lifetimes, but it's not to be fearful, because the next lifetime that you have will not be the same as this one. It might be in a different timeline. It definitely be in a different personality, in a different dimension, in a completely different reality. And it could be completely engrossed in love. It could be engrossed in fear. It could be something very simple, but we need to understand that it's going to be perfectly for our highest good, because we're doing this for ourselves. So the truth about Ascension is that we need to allow ourselves to go through this process, be kind to ourselves as we slowly move through it, and understand that this is a process. And those that are willing to really go into it and do the work, there's our groups, but there's also that acclimation state to build up your spiritual muscle before you start doing the heavy work. It's not just a matter about doing the work. There's a process of going through the work, gaining knowledge and understanding, and then doing some more work. Knowledge and understanding, doing some more work. Now, although much of us are doing that, there's also a much deeper level and layer to it. And maybe it's not going to be in this lifetime, but it'll be in other lifetimes. And I guarantee it's going to be happening for us bit by bit by bit. Awesome. Beautiful. SN, I've got you, brother. Hey, Toby. Toby says, I got my Reiki attunement about 10 years ago. I haven't been practicing. I feel like I need to heal myself to be able to help others. On the other hand, I was told when you give Reiki, you receive. Yeah. So what happens in Reiki, in order to give Reiki to somebody, you need to relinquish yourself. So Reiki is now, I'm also attuned for Reiki. And I feel like I've always kind of given Reiki. I don't necessarily believe with Reiki, because Reiki says you need to have somebody attune you to give you the key codes in order for you to give something else. Now, this is it's an ego thing to me. It's a consciousness, because you don't need that. Look at Jesus being a healer. Many of us are healers, and it's not that we are attuned. But Reiki, what they said is like you have to be attuned by somebody. And once you're tuned, your ego says, oh yeah, I'm attuned now. Now I can do this. It's almost like giving you permission to do it. And that's just my own deep belief system and understanding. Doesn't mean that it's true, but this is my own belief system. And so don't take offense to it. But know that when you get Reiki attuned, is that, okay, now I'm going to put my hands on somebody and I'm just going to let go. I'm going to open myself up and allow all this love to flow through me. And the love is like, a parent gives to a child when it scrapes his knee. When they scrape their knee, you hug them and you kiss their boo-boo and you hold your hand and say, oh, does this feel better? And it feels better because they're giving love. So Reiki is the same thing, as that you're giving love through yourself, through your body. Now, as you do that, when you first start doing this, you need to relinquish yourself. You need to let go of yourself and let the love pass through you. And as you're shifting energy and you're using love, of course, it's going to heal the vessel through you. If you're running water through a dirty pipe, the water's going to clean the pipe, even if it's not for you. It also can rust it a bit if the intention isn't proper. If the water isn't clean and it's full of chemicals and toxins, it can adjust the pipe that's coming in there. So if you are cleaning yourselves up and you're letting yourself go, I'm doing this, and they're now giving you feedback, people on your table giving you feedback saying, I feel better. Oh, you feel better. It's like, oh, you start getting easier and better, and you let go. So you let go of yourself. So this, again, is another tool in a process to let go of the thinking that you have that you need to be healed and better before you can heal somebody. It's all about doing and practicing and gaining the experience, and know that you are the vessel. As you let go of your inhibitions and restrictions, you are able to heal and help people much more clearly. I hope that makes sense, Toby. That's great. Okay, good. Priyana, I got you. Yvette says, I'm learning once you know the truth and you have understanding on a deep level, there's nothing to fear. Yeah, that's it. You know, that was part of my own ascension, that I was, even though I was awake and spiritually awake, I still held a lot of fear in me, which held me back. As I looked into the deep, deep fear and started looking at the real things that was bothering me, getting into the root of things, that took me like 3 years to get to the root. You know, I have some issues around sexuality, I had issues around money. A lot of us have a lot of these shared issues, but and I still have issues around fear, you know, and there is that martyrhood that I look at. And these are things that I'm looking at. It's just taking years to do. But once you do, you deeply understand it. And that is part of doing the hard work. Definitely getting into the hard work. Once you know it, you know it. You can't go back. You can't going back. That's great. So Disha says, calling to do rituals. When I look at that, what actually turns out to be dark feminine and tantric meditations rituals. Yeah. You know, there are a lot of rituals that are dark. If you're not ready, so if you're not ready to do these rituals and they end up being a dark ritual, it can lower your vibration down. This is why spending time in meditations and doing your emotional releases and going into love and practicing love, and then surrounding yourself with protections of love. I only allow love inside my space. Only beings I'm going to work with love. You start setting boundaries. And then if you work with the high vibration, you're going to do a lot of good work. There's a lot of people out there that are sharing the dark truth of what's happening around the world right now. And they just post and post and post. Here's this ugly truth. Here's this ugly truth. And it's just story after story, tragedy after tragedy. When I talk to them, they say that, you know, this is where my guide is. I'm giving love here. And when you feel that, it's like, it's love, but it's just full of hate and full of anger. So it's going to keep you in that low vibration. So I can guarantee those people are going to be coming back and repeating this life because they've spent a lot of time in love, but it's a very low vibration of love. So remember, this energy is a spectrum. On one end is that deep fear, hate, anger, evil. The other side is love, expansion, ascension, just pure freedom. And you can be anywhere you like on that spectrum, but it's a matter of moving yourself and spending time to that highest vibration. Now, this is just me, and there's a lot of need for people that need to spend time in the dark, and that's okay too. But also need to protect yourself and know when love is the truth. So this is what I know, Disha. So you're talking about the dark. I mean, like the powers of Kali and Hecate. Yeah, like, so they are low vibrations, but if you are not in the right vibration, you are going to tune in and connect to the low vibration of those beings, because that is an axis of it. When you're in a high vibration, you can handle those beings of low vibration and understand the meaning of their power is actually very high vibration. This kind of goes back into things like voodoo. Voodoo can be used as a very negative force, but also it can be done in a very loving, kind way. Because when most people use voodoo, they're using it out of spite and revenge and creating curses. So this is like what we're talking about, black magic. When you start getting into white magic and the higher vibrational stuff, you start doing it for good, to help nature, to help life, to rejuvenate people, to remove the blocks from people without using fear and negativity. So using the dark power of Kali and Hecate, it's true. They do have very dark powers, but they're also very loving spiritual being. This is like we might call tough love. Sometimes we need tough love, and you need to hear it in a certain way. That's right, Babette. It's about your intention. And if you don't have a deep understanding of your intention and your boundaries, and you're not practicing that and just reading books and following without actually doing it or doing it blindly, you can get a little bit dangerous. Now, granted, when I first started doing this mediumship stuff, it was a little bit, I was just jumping in with both feet and just doing it. And it's now that I've had a much deeper understanding that I can clean up some of that past energy and karma and clean up some of the evil, the darkness that kind of came into my space. And I never really thought that was possible until I was actually at a certain point that I could see the collective evil that was in my body and in my cellular structure that needed to be loved. And not just, I didn't want to kick it out, it needed to be just loved. And some of the evil and negativity in my body, I could sit with it. I could direct it and say, can you see that light? And so I'd see the evil being in my body. I'd see a light in their heart, but they couldn't see it. I said, can you see that light? And they I don't want to see that light. Don't show me that. And I would eventually coax them into seeing the light within their body. And once they did, I would start asking the question, what does it feel like to you? And once they began to feel the light in their body, that's when they transmuted and it left. Others just wouldn't do it. And some of the evil had no light at all that was showing, or you couldn't see it, or they didn't want to go see it. So what I did, I just sat with them. I sat with them and said, okay, I'm just going to sit here. And as much as they would yell at me, they would tell me to screw off. It's okay. I have no judgment against you. I'm just going to sit here. I'm going to be here with you. I'm going to hang out, and I'm just going to sit. And eventually, after a while, when you have two animals sitting in the same space, eventually they're going to get used to each other. That if you introduce a third animal, those two will partner up to gang up against the first. So this is what we can do within our own selves, is understanding the love, the energy that we are as an animal, understanding our mental, emotional state, and then understanding the community state, and then using the community to understand our emotional state, our animal body even more, so you can then go into a big, deep Taurus type cycle of healing, releasing, and raising your vibrations. This is our goal of raising the Ascension. And it's a process. It's definitely a process. Whew. That's crazy. Thank you for saying that, Jacqueline. I appreciate that radiation of love and light. And I ended up catching a cold from my niece last weekend that they were visiting. She's just 3 years old and just snot all over her, like the cutest thing ever. But just so much snot. It was ridiculous. And for me, because of the MS, anytime I get a sickness, it affects my body because my white blood cells start attacking my good cells. And I end up getting a lot of inflammation and not being able to move. So that's what's happened this week. And it's been that mind struggle of telling the body and saying, you're perfectly safe. It's okay. So I don't necessarily get into a big, deep wallow. When I feel starting getting worse, so when I feel that my body's getting worse, I don't say, oh, I'm getting worse. I'm going backwards now. Because when I did that, I'd really spiral. Now I take that moment and I know what to say to myself. I know what to observe, and I look at it. Say, I acknowledge it. I said, I am feeling like I'm getting worse because I choose to believe so. And I would use that kind of mantra to bring me out. And I would use that mantra to actually look deeper into myself, to actually move into love and know that this is a stasis. When the body is in this stage and there's a lot of inflammation, it can't move, the body's in stasis. And it's just rebuilding the energy to get really into high vibration. It's building itself up. You know, sometimes you need that momentum before you tackle that next hill. Okay, so let me go back to some of these questions that we marked out here at the start here. You can hear my voice. There's that little bit of sickness and cold. So I'm going to grab a Fisherman's Friends here. Excuse me while I grab this one thing. I love these Fisherman's Friends. They're great. Okay. Now, Julie says, let me pop her up. Julie says, can you ask for guidance for my thoracic back pain? I'd like to know what I can release, work on to help clear this nerve pain. I want to stop carrying this around. Thank you. Okay, let's see. And Julie, can you give me permission to just enter and scan your body as well, please. It'll just give me a little bit more effect here if I can come into your body energy. I'm just going to pull this back a little bit. I just want to feel this brain stem, spine, thoracic. Oh, I get the mid back. There's a spur. You feel that radiating. You let me give a little bit of healing if you don't mind. So sit back right now and just relax and breathe for me. And just take some deep breaths and put your mind on that area of your thoracic back. And just move yourself to the center of the pain. Just feel the pain. Give yourself permission. You're perfectly safe here. No harm's going to come to you. Just observe the pain. I want you to feel it. And breathe into it. And breathe and feel that pain. To that area, I want you to say, as I say it, you're perfectly safe. I'm here for you now. Even if I don't understand you, I'm willing to love you. Now, say that like you mean it, whether you believe it or not. Again, just stay present with the area of your pain. Breathe into it and feel it. Really feel it. I'm willing to love you, even if I don't understand you. Say it like you mean it, whether you believe it or not. I'm willing to love you, even when others don't. I'll support you and be here for you. There's nothing wrong with you. There's nothing wrong with me. We're here to support each other. I promise you I will not abandon you. Breathe into it. Let go. Now, take a deep breath into that area. Deep, deep breath. Hold it and hold it in that area of your pain. Allow that pressure to build. And then draw that pressure up to the top of your head, to your forehead, to your crown. And then exhale it out from your crown and out through your mouth. And say, I release you with love and grace. What's no longer yours is no longer mine. I release you with love and grace. And now move back to that area in your body. Take your dominant hand and put it over it. Take your dominant hand, put it over on top of it, and take your less dominant hand and put it underneath it so that you have a flow of energy moving in through your hands. Now, as you breathe in through your hand, in one hand, your dominant hand, exhaling out through your least dominant hand, and as if you're creating a cycle of energy. Inhaling as if you're sucking into your dominant hand, exhaling out through your least dominant hand. It's moving through the pain in that thoracic area. Inhaling into your dominant hand, exhaling out through your least dominant hand. And again, over one on top of the body. So dominant hand is above the pain, least dominant is below. And you're just going to breathe and allow that cycle. As you breathe, you're going to breathe it up. Also exhale it with love and grace, releasing. I release you with love and grace. I'm here to support you, no matter what. I'm willing to love you when others won't. Now, consider doing that for a little bit and then share your experience in the comments to let me know how that's working for you. Yeah, let me know. Okay. Awesome. Good to see you. Good to see you, Johnny. Glad you're here. Oh, good. I'm glad I sound fine. Thank you, Priya. Hi, beautiful. Good. Good. Thank you. Good. Hey, Marie. I got you. Added you on. And Old Soul, I got you. Good. Thanks, Julie. Okay, it's coming to Robinette. Robinette says, my daughter is an energy healer. Beautiful. She's forming sound therapy, working with children. Beautiful. How long will it take to come to fruition? First, they're kind of saying is to let go of the time aspects on here. Forming sound therapy, working with children. Good. There's a need for this. I feel it's gonna snowball rather quickly, Robinette. As soon as she does it for a small group of children and the parents are involved and they see the shift within their children, because children are very sensitive to vibration, because we all are, but they're especially more open to it. And we're talking about young children. She'll have a much greater effect with them. It almost seems like if she gets her foot into, like, I can see 5 kids. If there's 5 kids that she gets in front of her, then they're going to heal. They're going to go through the shift very quickly. Interesting, because I'm getting so deep. I've been working with vibrations for about a year and a half. Sorry, more than that, 2-3 years now. And I'm going to be doing a lot more vibrations. We're doing that in our Enlightened Mastery group, but we're going to be moving into. So my guides have me working through specific chakras. Like for a month and a half, just been working on the root chakra. And there's certain sounds and vibrations that we're going to be using, and I'll be introducing that. And I'll be putting out some videos on that too eventually, once I work it out through myself. But sound therapy and the vibrations that go with it, very, very important. Kids are great effects with it. And you do it with a group of 5. She does it with 5 kids. It's going to snowball into a lot of kids. Yeah, it's going to happen rather quickly. Awesome. That's exciting. Really exciting. Beautiful. Julie says, I'm feeling a big difference already. Say, great for this guidance. Beautiful. Beautiful. So you see that what we can do by paying attention to the body and the emotional body, that we can heal ourselves. And this is what I've done with my MS. So doctors keep on telling me that I'm supposed to be in pain. And they say, what's your pain level? 7 out of 10, 10 out of 10. How much pain are you? How much drugs can we give you? And it's like, I'm in no pain. And I haven't done any drugs. I'm not doing any drugs. Even though maybe it would help slow the progression on there, but that's all it's going to do is slow the progression. But that's not for my highest and greatest good. It's to experience the pain and experience all the changes. But of course, there's no pain anymore. I don't have pain. All right. Sister Babette says, question, does my guardian angel Hunter have any guiding messages for me this time? I immediately heard one thing about a little bit of scolding there, Babette. And I'm kind of wondering if that's just me, because I might know something about you. I'm just putting that aside. Hunter, what does Babette need to hear? First, he wants to say how proud he is of you. You know, the relationship that we have with our guardian angel, as crazy as this might sound, it's an important one. It takes a while for us to establish that creation, that connection. And you've done a really good job of establishing a connection with your guardian angel, Babette. So bravo for you. Now, having the connection with your guardian angel, you feel that certain level of safety, of comfort, of knowing that, you know, everything is okay right now. I feel like I have a community around me. I feel like I'm being taken care of and protected. I want you to use that feeling to start observing some of the trauma that you've gone through in your life. I want you to start observing what's happening within you, to know that you're perfectly safe. because you're in that safe space. You have your guides, you have your angels, you sense it around you, you feel it around you. You're much more open to it. You've been opening yourself up more into love and grace, and you really are a beautiful, loving person, extremely intelligent, very smart. But that intelligence is getting in your way too, because you're trying to think your way out of getting through your trauma instead of actually observing your trauma the way that you should. You should be observing your trauma, but because you're smart, you're looking at other ways to deal with your trauma without actually dealing with your trauma. So he says, like, if you want to take care of this really quickly, rip that Band-Aid off, go deal with your trauma, go look at it, observe it. And it's as simple as looking at your trauma. This is for all of us, that when you look at your trauma, that from your past, the things that have defined you and made you, when you start looking at your trauma, it's really, really scary. But once you do and begin to understand it and love it, and simply using the phrase, who do you need love from? What do you need from me? I love you. I'm here for you. Always staying positive and connecting with your trauma and understanding it so you can transmute it from trauma to love. And once you do that, it just becomes very addictive. You just start getting really good at it. That doesn't have to be a 2-3 hour session that you're sitting with yourself dealing with one little thing. Is that as soon as you get a thought in your mind, you release it in an instant. And this is what I hope happens for all of you, that any type of trauma comes into yourself, you release it in an instant. All your past trauma, because you understand it quickly. So Hunter wants you to understand it quickly, Babette. Once you understand your trauma and how trauma works, you can release it quickly. But then there are some very sticky pieces, things that are ingrained, these traumas that are deep in your root, that needs a much deeper levels of attention and layers to work on. And this is the trauma that keeps on repeating itself. But once you get good at it, you become fearless, and that trauma is no problem. And that's when you can start healing and helping others. And this is what I'm doing. Because I've been able to deal with my trauma, I'm able to deal with other people's trauma because I understand my own trauma so well. So once you understand your own trauma, you'll understand others' trauma. And I still have a lot of work to do in releasing and understanding my trauma. And it's not something you can do every day. You work on your trauma and then you got to relax. You got to relax. You can't be doing emotional stuff all the time. You got to deal with your trauma. You got to deal with all that stuff. And as you do, your ascension will open up. Your third eye will open up. You'll start healing your body. You start healing others. You start healing everything, every aspect about you. And it's like this really is the miracle drug. But there's so many things to do that the result ends up being a huge success each and every time. But the hard part is actually facing it. Yeah, I hope that makes sense. Awesome. Bye, Disha. Good. Okay. Toby says, I was told by I was told years ago by a spirit, a white bird, that I have a rainbow of guides around me. Any info on that? So I'm going to say this to everybody. It's not just you, Toby. It's all of us. As you begin to open up your ascension, open up your awareness, this is when you can start seeing things that you cannot see with your eyes, you can't hear with your ears, you can't smell it, you can't taste it. You go beyond your 5 physical senses. As you develop this and open this up, you can not only see that we are surrounded by a team of guides. Now, guides come and leave. When you learn a lesson, a guide will leave. Some guides stay with you longer, some guides end up leaving. As you open up your awareness and understanding, can see more, hear more, you can go through all your ascension process. We talk about our main clairs, clairvoyance, clairaudience, clairsentience, and claircognizance. So when you start opening those up and you start working at that cycle, you're going to see more, and you're going to realize each and every single one of us have a rainbow of guides, angels, ascension beings, elemental beings, galactic beings. There's so many around us, and it's just a matter of opening up your ascension. When I first started, the galactics were put on me. I was like, what the hell? And I had no interest in learning about galactics. But now that I've opened up myself and understand it more, I can understand the galactics because I understand them. I understand myself. I'm ready for it. So there is a process to go through. And this is why most of us start with the religious figures, Mary Magdalene, Jesus, God, and start with the basics and then work ourselves up. Now, I started not believing in any of that. And it's only in the last few years that I actually would say I believe in God, Jesus, Mother Mary, and even know their names, because I wasn't brought up with it and I didn't know that, or I knew it, but I didn't believe in it. And now I believe it and understand it completely. Awesome, Babette. I'm glad that makes sense. Awesome. Thank you for confirming that. Essence says, hey, brother, thank you for sending lots of love. Question, I've been going through an ego death for a while now. How much longer will this last? It'll okay. So let's talk about ego death. When we start focusing on ego death and wanting to kill your ego, if somebody wanted to kill you, would you not want to survive? Somebody is trying to kill you. I want to kill you. Don't you want to survive? So now you're out there. I want to kill my ego. Your ego will force itself to survive. It'll use every trick in the book to survive. When you want to kill your ego, don't kill your ego. Because as soon as you have the intention of wanting to kill your ego, the ego is going to dig in and it's going to pull out every trick in the book in order to survive. Stop killing your ego. Understand your ego and love it. Sit with your ego. That's what we're all saying about all this stuff. This is the truth. You need to observe your ego. Observe your mind. Our ego says, I am judgmental against myself. I hate that person. I want to kill that person. Okay. It's okay if you want to kill that person. You want to attack them. Let's look at that and let's observe that. See what's happened. Notice how your body is reacting, what your body wants to say to killing that person. Notice how your ego is reacting, what your ego wants to say to that, and then understand it. I don't understand you, but I'm willing to understand you. I don't know what's going on in your mind, and I have no idea what's making you tick. I don't know why you're thinking that way, but I want to understand you. I really do. I really mean it. And you start getting curious about that as you understand and love your ego, because you don't want to kill it, because you want to understand it so you can be there for you, because your ego is always looking out for you. When you're about to step into that puddle that ends up being a deep cavernous hole, it's your ego that's telling you, that puddle might be a cavernous hole. And when you want your ego to look out for you, otherwise you're just fucking wandering all around, you're gonna get run over by a truck. It's your ego that says, oh, the spidey senses, there's a truck coming, let's not get run over by it. So don't try to kill your ego. When you stop wanting to kill your ego, start loving and understanding your ego, now your ego will work in harmony with you so you can live and be one. So love your ego, understand your ego. You don't necessarily have to love it right now, but you can say, I'm willing to understand you. I want to understand you. I got no idea who you are. I really don't like you right now, but I want to like you. It's okay to talk like that because that's your honest truth. Start understanding and loving your ego instead of wanting to kill it, and your ego it'll work with you rather than against you for survival. Great question, SN. Thank you for bringing that up. Hi, Priya. Okay, so Priya says, I'm going through an emotional trauma. What's going on with my guides? And I saw you've got a couple of questions on here. How do I cure my karmic relationship? Is my relationship with my husband karmic? What do you want to say about that? Okay. Here's a good point now. Let's talk about karma. So when karma comes up in your life, when we start thinking about karma has been again given a very negative connotation. And we feel that these things happen to us that we need to suffer because we need to fulfill our karma. We think karma is payback. So the MS that's happening in my body is my karma. Karma is also, this is what needs to happen for me in order for me to learn. If I didn't get MS and degenerative disc disease in the body and using a walker and going through this experience, it wouldn't have forced me to stop to look at myself. The reason why we have these bad relationships and why people come into our lives and why those experiences happen to us is so that we can learn from them. The problem is, the majority of us is that when we have a problem come into us, let's say our relationship with your spouse, and you have this horrible, horrible relationship, we end up fighting against them. We end up yelling and hating them. And we start thinking this, you're doing this against me. It's all you. But that karmic relationship says, I'm bringing this forward so you can look at yourself. Look at how this is making you feel so you can look at yourself. And as you look at yourself and you understand yourself, you let go of that karma. And then as you let go of that stuff, you start understanding yourself, you start doing good around you. And that's going to erase your karma and others' karma. And you're just releasing karma across your timelines, your dimensions, and every single lifetime that you've had, every personality against every timeline dimension. So karma is a good thing. Karma is being done for us. It's not being done against us or to us. It's not payback. It's that negative connotation that we have. So yes, the husband. So yes, specifically for you, your husband that's come into your life is part of your karma for you to learn. What is this lesson relationship telling you? So you've got a husband that provides for you, maybe provides the income inside of the household, and you're taking care of your son and the family relationship, but you need more. It's not satisfying you because your parents and culture have told you, if you want to be happy, you need to get married, have babies, and everything's going to be great. So we end up going into these marriages, we have babies and saying, this is what I was told, this is what happiness is, and then we're not happy. Why am I not happy? Well, there's your karma. It's being done to you and for you, so you can begin to look at how this is affecting you and looking inside your body. So your husband isn't a bad man. He's just trying to figure it out, just like you, just like me, just like all of us. We're just trying to figure it out. And sometimes it's easy, sometimes it's hard. So as you look at your husband, have a little bit of kindness, and hopefully your husband will look at you with maybe a little bit of kindness too. But if your husband is yelling at you and being a real then look at that. Maybe look at how this is affecting you rather than what they're doing to you. Look at how this relationship and the conversation is affecting you. And this is really where your guides are directing you to. It's not a matter about connecting with your guides. It's a matter about connecting with yourself. As you connect with yourself, you'll connect with your guides. There's so many different roads and avenues that we can take to connect with ourselves. When we start doing spiritual work and connect with spirit guides and angels, it's really meant for us to open up our awareness and awakening enough so that we can look at ourselves. And some go through horrific trauma and pain in order to look at themselves, in order to then have an awakening and then see their guides. So you can see it's one before the other, but it's all the same road. It's all about looking at the bigger picture. And this is what's coming for you, is seeing that bigger picture. Yeah. So how to know the lesson? Yeah. So when we start thinking about our lessons, our ego is telling us, or our mind, our intelligence is telling us that we need to figure this out, instead of allowing it to unravel and unfold for us in a natural way. So we keep on searching for answers and lessons, but as we search in our mind, all the answers are there. So your mind is a collection of everything that you've learned from this lifetime since you were born until now. When you start going into meditation and start zoning out and start moving into the quantum, into the void of darkness and space where nothing exists, that's where the answers are. So this is why we say going into meditation is important, so that you can figure this out, so you can get the answers that you don't know. So this is why in a lot of the meditations that I do, one of the questions that we ask, once you get the body out of the way and the mind out of the way, what do I need to know that I don't know? What do I need to hear that I haven't heard? What do I need to see that I haven't seen? So you start going through the clairs and asking that question and really sit with it. What do I need to see that I haven't seen before? And then wait and pause. What do I need to hear that I haven't heard before? Wait and pause. What do I need to know that I don't know? Wait and pause and start going through that. Going through your sight, your hearing, your knowing, your feeling. What do I need to feel that I haven't felt before? And through that, through your experience, you'll begin to learn and understand. So this is what I'm doing through my own meditations and through the private groups. So how to start connecting? I'm not able to sit in meditations. You're saying yourself you're not able to sit in meditations, but you are. All you need to do is sit. Even though the mind is just going crazy and it's wandering and being really crazy, every time you go to sleep, you are meditating. So yes, you are able to sit in meditation. This is where practice is, but are you consistent with it? Because people say, I can't meditate. And you do it once or twice and then you forget it. And then every time that you want to meditate, you go and say, I can't meditate, and you don't even do it. Meditation isn't something that you can do instantly. If you said that to your son, when your son first began to walk, because your son wasn't able to take their first steps perfectly, you said, you can't walk. That's horrible. Never walk again. And you encourage your child never to walk again. They're never going to walk again. So now what are you doing to yourself? I can't meditate. I can't sit still. My mind is too active. Do it again. Train your body, train your mind like a child, and go through that process. The meditation that I go through is calm the body. Start with your head, calm your face, calm the muscles in your neck, calm the muscles in your shoulder, your chest, your back, going all the way down your body parts. Then working on your organs, going through your ligaments, your tendons, going through the bones, the joints, the space in the joints, the marrow inside your bones. Relax it all. Get the body really out of the way. Then go to the mind. Be still. Be quiet. Just take a break. Sit out of the way. Take a moment. And then get it all still. And that's a practice. So it's a practice to calm the body and mind. It's not about stopping the mind, because the thoughts end up being portals to lead you to where you need to go. So you want your thoughts. We want the thoughts to happen. We don't want to stop them. Just like our ego. We don't want to stop it. We want to understand it. So understand your meditations, understand your ego, and keep practicing. This is what we want to do. Ah, beautiful. Glad you're here, Tommy. Thank you for your email as well, and your message is beautiful. Yeah, and Kara says, I do. So I provide a lot. So this is the stuff I do. The free stuff is here on Fridays at noon Eastern, and then every Sunday at 10 a.m. Join in. If it's outside of your time zone, they're recorded. They're sitting on YouTube. Go back, watch them again. You can do it every day. There's tons of meditations there. Just it's about doing the meditations than not doing. And if you're really serious, you want to change your life, then you can consider joining the Enlightened Mastery Group or applying to join, because we don't just allow everybody in. You got to be at a certain state before you're in. You have to be in a certain level of consciousness. And if you're not ready for that, I'll direct you to somebody else. But there is a process. Do these meditations. It's about doing rather than just talking about it. This is where we're going. Yeah, this is where we're going. Okay, we have a couple more before we're done for the day here. Marie and then Old Soul. Marie says, I just got better from sciatic pain. Beautiful. It lasted almost 3 weeks. What is it that I needed to release to get rid of this pain? I know it has to do with not feeling supported. Okay, Marie, let's see what we got. And just give me permission to tune into your body. If you'll let me. They're directing me to the memory within your back, into your sciatic pain, into your buttocks and leg. So if you give me permission, allow me to scan your body. Start at the top. Going in the shoulders, spine, organs, back. Midpoint at your lumbar. I feel a slight pinch there. So your left sciatic, take me down the left sciatic nerve, down your left side. Okay, so I've got the root on here. Take me to the starting point. It's up towards the lumbar, moving up towards your thoracic. Between your lumbar and thoracic. Yeah, this does have to do with support. There's a feeling of being alone and abandoned. It feels like it deals with your son. It feels like you've moved closer to be towards your son, but your son is really just wanting to live their own life and not really acknowledge your existence there. So you're not being supported by family, and there's a need for you to be supported by family. Okay, so what does she do with this? Observe the relationship not only with your son, but surrounding around family. Observe family, the support of family supporting one another, even culturally. Because culturally, there's a significant meaning. There's some past life here about being supported through family and an expectation that you have about being supported by family. And then how you're not being supported by your son. Because your son, it feels like your son was first, second generation, maybe. Like he's more Americanized, your son, it feels like. And it doesn't necessarily have the cultural upbringing in family. Although he's a very loving, kind, wonderful man, young man. He's a great kid. But he's also, like all children, are very focused on themselves, on developing their career, developing a relationship, developing a foundation and a house, before they understand what family is, before they understand what sacrifices that you did for him. So it's not about, so it feels like your sciatic pain is directed towards him, but, and this is where your pain is radiating out of your body for not being supported between your thoracic and your lumbar. But it goes back towards family, is what I'm getting on this, Marie. That's what's coming through for me. Yeah. So let me know. So it's interesting that we see that. So I know Marie, she's a person that works on herself. So like many of us, we work on our own selves, and it's so much easier to work with other people. And we're able to clear energy in people, heal other people, help other people, but it's really hard to heal ourselves. This is why having a community is so important, is that you have other people that you can talk to, or having a mentor and being guided by somebody that can guide you through your process. And I'm currently on the lookout for my next mentor that's going to be helping me through this next stage. Right now I have my guides mentoring me. It feels like I have a physical mentor coming through. So we all need a mentor. If you don't have a mentor, join a community with a mentorship. If you're guided towards me, great, because this is what I am. You are not alone. You're part of my family circle. So allow me to be part of your circle and help you. But if you don't have one for yourself, look for somebody that resonates with you. It doesn't mean that I'm the person. Find somebody in your circle that resonates with you, so you can develop your circle and be mentored, so someone can help you look at the healing that you need within yourself. Yeah, that's wonderful. Thank you for bringing that up, Marie. All right, brother. Old soul here. Icon, if you don't mind me asking out of the blue, is there any message I need to hear right now from my guardian angels? Absolutely, brother. All right. Guardian angels, would you come through for old soul? Yeah. I feel a lot of pressure coming in through my forehead and crown. So you're in an interesting stage right now, and I know this stage really well. What they're showing is that you are moving out of the understanding of your body. So when we start first trying to heal or fix our physical or mental issues, when we first start to try to fix our mental issues or our physical issues, we get really in the body, and we start going to doctors, we start going to psychologists, we start going into eating better and finding these gurus that can help us, and we start looking for all these fad diets and working out and exercising so we can heal the body. And we think that if we heal the body, everything else will work into play. you are currently in that stage of understanding the body. There's something that's always been said to me that that I never understood it before. The true meaning of what mind, body, and soul means. So, we say that like saying "I love you" or "buddy" or "friend" or "I'm." If you ever need anything, call on me. We say those things like we never really mean it. We mean it by our hearts, but when it actually comes to doing it, we don't do it. So we hear mind, body, and soul. But until you actually break that down, you hear the term, you're not the body, you are not the mind, you're not the personality. Sadhguru has that in part of his meditations. You're still understanding of what the body is. When you understand that you are not the body, that you are not the mind, that you're not the personality, you're in that beginning process of knowing what the body is. So once you get to the stage I've done all these things for my body and it's still not getting better, it's not healing my mental state, it's not fixing everything else, well, there's got to be something more. So you are at a beginning journey, old soul, about discovering what's going on with your body and moving out of that state for yourself. Yeah. So you're what you need to do is keep exploring, but also maybe tune in to say, like, you think that you got to fix your body, but is it really your body? And it's not necessarily your body. But you're in that discovery process right now. Also, it's coming for you. You're getting closer. Thank you for the permission, Marie. I'm glad and good. Yeah. So I was right. At least it was the left side. I felt that. I hope the rest of the message is good for you. Yeah. Good. Thanks everybody for being a part of today. If you want to start getting involved in the community, go check out Rachel. This is being live streamed on my channel at Con Night, and it's also being live streamed on Intuitive Soul Rising with Rachel Swanee. If you want to join our newsletter, we share a little bit of information and monthly updates on what's happening in the world and our courses and events that are coming up. And if you're wanting to, go sign up for my newsletter where I help people to get through the process of healing your mind and body. So the series of emails that you receive is building up to understanding who you are, your body, your mind, and start breaking down the thought process, the body process, the mind process. And that's what these newsletters do. That will come up once a month. So yeah, there we are. Thanks, everybody. Okay, thank you, Marie. Said you were abandoned by childhood too. Yeah, by both your parents. Yeah, I'm sorry you had to go through that, hon. I'm really sorry that you had to go through that. So I guess what I pulled for you was accurate, Marie. It's about family not being supported with your an issue from your son, but it's more family. So observe that, notice how that makes you feel. And if anybody is ever guided, consider just reaching out to me. Come out to my website at connight.com, and I'd love to help you out. Yeah. I'm back on Sunday. Join for the Sunday meditations, free meditations right here on YouTube. We do this as a group. It's much more powerful doing as a group. And we go through a cycle of developing our awareness, looking at our emotion, and looking at how we feel and bringing the feelings in, because we need to remind the body, this is what love feels like. This is what freedom feels like. This is how I give you permission not to feel guilty anymore about not doing meditations. It's okay that you didn't do the meditations. So these are the things that we're doing in our Enlightened Master group and also live on this channel every time. So thanks, everybody. Have a great weekend. I'll be back on Friday. Back on Sunday and then Friday. So we'll see you soon. Please share, please like, and help get my message out. Thanks, everybody. Love you all.